Right here in Martinez, California, me and Joe DiMaggio.
I'm a ball player, not an actor. Joe DiMaggio.
Me and Joe DiMaggio, born right here in Martinez, 1946, about 9 months after World War II.
All right. So, have you lived here the entire time?
Well, you know, I went in the Army and I went to school in Chico and then lived in Europe for a couple of years, but pretty much, you know, Martinez is home and always will be.
What did your parents do?
My father was a salesman. Nobody in town knew him. Everybody in town knew my mother. She was very social. She worked downtown in a couple of dress stores. And she was Italian, so I was connected with her entire Italian family here in town, which ran restaurants. And that's pretty much my introduction to this sort of life.
Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Harriet Tubman.
Do you recall Armando growing up?
Oh yeah, my grandfather was a wonderful chef, and he worked at some of the nicer restaurants in Martinez. And during the war, he was Italian. We were at war with the Italians. So he was made to leave Martinez someplace where he could not observe the ships, you know.
Was it a requirement?
Yeah. I mean, the government, you know, because we were at war with Italians, or Italy, the Italians were relocated, not as bad as the Japanese, I mean, but they had to move somewhere other than strategic spots, which Martinez, being on the water, was a strategic spot. So he moved to Orinda, as if you couldn't go to the top of the hill and see the entire bay. But they weren't really too worried about the Italians, but they figured they really kind of screwed the Japanese. So, you know, but you know, we're at war with Italy too, so they had to do something.
That must have been very interesting for Martinez, being founded by Italians, so to speak.
You know, I never talked to many of them. A lot of them who became American citizens weren't affected.
I see.
But my grandfather, who never, you know, he was always an Italian citizen.
Yes.
He had to move.
Even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. Will Rogers.
Do you remember his restaurant?
Yeah, it was oddly enough called Armando's.
All right.
And he would feature, he was a singing chef. And he would, matter of fact, when he was in Orinda, at the Orinda Willows Theater, he was a singing chef there. And I have some recordings of him doing an Italian aria in between, you know, shifts of cooking. He had a very beautiful voice. He was very gregarious, outgoing, fun-loving. And I suspect I picked up some of that from him.
The bar will be open during this short little break. Harriet will be coming around, grabbing some money from you folks.
I know that Roy really appreciates history and is very proud of the part his family has played in the local history of Martinez. In fact, Armando's itself, that well-known place for music, is named in honor of Roy's own maternal grandfather, Armando Olmeda, who was well-known here in Martinez and in Orinda and other places in the county as the singing chef. For a number of years before World War II, he owned a restaurant on Escobar Street where the Moose Lodge is now. He would prepare succulent Italian meals every evening for his patrons, followed by his own appearance walking through the dining room serenading his customers.
When did the Bay Area music community start to notice this little small, I mean, Martinez is the end of the line. It's a hole in the wall sort of place, so to speak, but it's a fantastic club.
You know, I don't think this would have made it in Walnut Creek. First of all, I couldn't have done it in Walnut Creek because the overhead in Walnut Creek would have been through the roof.
Yes.
Because the overhead here was pretty cheap and I had time to cultivate this. I didn't have to make money. It was never my initial goal. This would be how I retire. I'll get this thing going. It was, it was to put on a good show. And it's still you know, that's paramount. Put on a good show. That I'm making some money. That's frosting.
Website and email updates, you still have paper flyers for downtown. Why is that?
Well, yeah, I tag cars, and there's not every car is tag worthy. You know, if I see a junker, I'm not going to put this flyer on his window. I don't want this guy in here really. But the Mercedes, you know, that'd be a good customer. Let's put one on the Mercedes. And those people don't live downtown for the most part. You know, the nicer cars are here because they're attorneys or they're here for the, you know, court. But they come from, you know, nice neighborhoods, and I don't think they have a place in their neighborhood that if they like music. Now, most people can give or take music. You know, they enjoy it, but they really have no idea of what kind of music they like. I ask people all the time, what kind of music you like? And if they say, oh, I like all music, I go, oh God, you know, this is somebody that doesn't have any strong affiliation with a type of music. That's what I like. You know, I love bluegrass, or I love jazz. Okay, I can deal with that person. That's a person that could be in here. Mm-hmm. The people that just like, you know, everything. I mean, there's some people that just like everything, and they come here and they enjoy. They come in here Friday night not knowing what kind of music is going to be here, but they know it's going to be good music, and they do enjoy it. So that's why I do the flyers, yes. And I just don't want the people in town to think I'm going away.
I always advise people never to give advice. PG Woodhouse.
Do you have any other advice for folks who might want to start a musical cabaret in their own hometown? Yeah,
I'd say go ahead and do it. Hopefully you have some money so that you can survive the first 2 years anyway. 3-4 years would be good. I'm appealing to somebody that wants to buy a sailboat. You know, you buy a sailboat and you spend a lot of money on the sailboat. You love being on the sailboat. Well, that same mentality, let's say you don't want a sailboat, but you like to dedicate some time to something you love, running a cabaret, go do it. It's going to suck up as much money as that sailboat will for 2 years.
Yes.
Deal with it. But I'd love to talk to somebody who wanted to do it. You know, somebody who wanted to do it, I said, where are you doing it? How big's the room? What's it look like? Yada, yada, yada. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. You know, if you had a full bar, you could probably do it without a door charge. You just have good bands in here because you can make enough money at the bar with, you know, mixed drinks as opposed to beer and wine. And there's probably places you can make it with just beer and wine. I mean, I got to do a cover charge because I got to pay sound and a bartender and a doorman and the MC. You know, he needs money.
Art is anything you can get away with. Marshall McLuhan.
Who taught you the Chuck Berry duck walk?
You know, that's something that you grow up with. It's the first time you see it, and you're young and you can do it. That's a still picture. I'm not duck walking. I'm just, that's a pose of the duck walk. Chuck Berry is what I consider the father of rock and roll. I mean, you know, the Rolling Stones are like the step. You know, yes, they learned from Chuck Berry. You know, I mean, but Chuck Berry to me is the purest rock and roll you can get. So, if Chuck ever wants to come out here from St. Louis, I know you're listening, Chuck. Come on out. We got a little venue.
When our memories outweigh our dreams, it is then that we become old. Bill Clinton.
Do you have any thoughts or plans what to do with Armando's when you decide to quit, or do you ever decide to quit?
Well, I, you know, got into this foolishly enough really about 10 years ago, but it took me a couple years to get a liquor license. And now the place has been operating with a liquor license for about 8 years. And I said then I want to do 20 years, because 20 years would be a good run for a place. Then it would have some sort of lineage, and there'd be, oh yeah, Armando's, you know, it'd be generational.
Yes.
So I thought, 20 years makes a place. So I want to put in another 12 years here so I can retire at
All right.
79.
All right.
Maybe I can paint over that. It'll probably bleed through. Guy Clark.
Maybe I can paint over that. It'll probably bleed through.
When you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Lewis Carroll.
I took the road less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Robert Frost.
Ask him why he painted Snake Road.
Why did you paint Snake Road?
Oh, we're going public with that, huh?
Well, we don't have to.
I have a lot of paint.
Yes.
And it was just something kind of funny to do. Go up there and who gets to paint a road, without getting arrested?
Yes.
So I'd go up there with a couple gallons of paint in a backpack, and I would always take up water and brushes and because it wasn't just a, throw paint. But I just started doing this Mondrian thing. They would put this black tar, and there would be definite squares. I would start to paint the inside of the squares. It's like a Piet Mondrian painting. And so it just kind of caught on. More people go up there and paint whatever they want, right? Whatever you want on the road. And it's latex paint. It dries pretty quick. I don't think we've destroyed too many bicycles by going through wet paint, although that's happened too. But it's just something that's kind of a goof, and it's fun.
Yes.
By the way, painting the road makes no money, much like Armando's for the first several years. Maybe I'll start making money painting the road. I don't know.
Maybe.
Down the road.
That's
I always think I'd like to tag, as I see graffiti going up on the side of a building. The city comes along or the county comes along and paints it with a color that's kind of close, so you see this big blotch of. Then I would like to go augment the graffiti by not painting it out entirely, but just leaving some of the things that are kind of cool. And so that way it would be like a growing piece. Every time somebody tags it again, you don't have to paint the whole wall. You just go take out what is maybe offensive. That's been the city hasn't been able to agree to that. Nor has Caltrans, because I proposed it, that no, insurance won't cover that.
When you get to a fork in the road, take it, Yogi Berra.
Okay, my original idea, years ago, the road was divided up and fixed with all this black tar. They'd pour this in the cracks. And to me, I saw these big areas that were just begging to be painted, a la Piet Mondrian. He did these very rigid areas of color. And so that's all I did. So I'm gonna, this is real visible and real close to the entrance, but we'll be here for a minute. And, you bring your provisions, water for drinking, and paint. Very important, have paint. A couple brushes, some, I like to haul out all my crapola, but we'll just drop some color in here and spread it around. This is it's a nice yellow. Okay, so I'm going to just endeavor to fill this area up here, maybe with an initial of C. Maybe let's start with just the letter C. Okay, you ready? Okay, paint. More juice. Fill it in nice. And, just stay within these boundaries of the black. which is the old, the whole reason I was doing these. I had a lot of paint, by the way. You wonder what to do with some good paint. Well, hell, I said, why don't we paint the road? It seemed like the logical thing to do. And that's how this started. Simple enough, huh? There we go. And then I'll just move up the road. I got a little bit of yellow here. So there's a small area here. I'll clean it up. And just fill in this area here because I got a little bit of paint, Wish I had more. There. Voila. And now the cleanup, because I don't like to get that messy. We're gonna haul this crap out of here. I got a couple more quarts. I'm gonna move up the road. Nasty stuff written, and it looks to me like people have painted over the bad stuff. That's it, we're out of paint. He says no paint. Just a matter of time. Well, here we are. The new. I'm not sure improved. Not an improvement, if you ask me. Well, I'm not going to tag this road until they start repairing it, and that could be tagged. But I'm not going to be the first guy to do it.
I always advise people never give advice. People. No.
Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Harriet Tubman. Are you a dreamer? I'm a dreamer.
I'm an actor, not a ball player. Joe DiMaggio.
You flipped it. I'm a ball player, not an actor. Let's go back.
Oh, I flipped it backwards. I'm an actor?
You went backwards. Remember, Joe DiMaggio
was a ball player, not an actor.
All right.
I'm a ball player, not an actor. Joe DiMaggio.